Alright, you're not going to see much, but I'm setting off with a colleague of mine from work, as a friend as well, and it's 4:39 in the morning, so off we go. So we're roughly 3/4 of an hour in, and it's quite chilly. 9.5 degrees. I thought it was going to be about 11 degrees when we set off, but it's pretty fresh at the moment. The sun isn't up yet, so all going well, apart from feeling a little bit chilly. Just going through a town called Bunbury. I think next destination pretty much is going to be York. That's where we're aiming for, and maybe put some fuel in there. York's another half an hour or so away. So 6:39 at the moment. We're in York. Just had a quick coffee, bathroom stop, and we're going to set off. Next stop is going to be Ravensthorpe, and I think we're going to pick up some fuel around Corrigin way. I don't know how far away that is actually, but we'll need to get some fuel before we get to Ravensthorpe, I think. I've got fuel on board, but Jim doesn't have panniers with any fuel on. He's got a GS, so he should be doing alright with this tank of fuel, but we need to get some fuel before too long. Alright, catch up later on. So, another break at the moment. We're struggling a little bit with the wind at the moment. It's I always complain about the wind. It's always windy, and that's definitely a factor so far. Temperature wise, we're up to 13 degrees, so it's definitely getting warmer now, but with the wind it still feels around about 9-10 degrees, so a bit fresh still. We're another 57k to go to get to Corrigin, and that's going to be our fuel stop. So that would be our first fuel stop actually. The only fuel stop we've personally had is a cup of coffee. So we're just taking a quick break here, just on the we're actually in Quadaring. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. We're just on the outskirts of that, just taking a quick break. So I don't know how much of a wind blast I'm going to be getting here, how much you can hear, but it's very windy. It's 7:42 in the morning, so just about 10 minutes from setting off from that last stop. As you can see, the actual look of the land looks quite dry at the moment actually. So far it's been very challenging with the actual elements, the wind. I'm feeling fine so far. We set off I think at 4:35 in the morning, so 7:43 now. So 3 hours in. It doesn't seem like 3 hours actually. Going well, feel fine. A little bit of sciatica down the legs. Actually my right leg hamstring tightened up this morning because it was so cold. I was tense, like you do get cold, so you tense up. So my right leg still is a little bit sore, but apart from that, all good. Just coming into Corrigin now, Corrigin. Trying to find a petrol station. There's supposed to be one here somewhere. Straight ahead. So we'll get fueled up here and crack on. Still cold. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no. No. Jim was saying, did I see a kangaroo on top of the road bouncing along? I said no. I saw a dead one. Anyhow, get fueled up and carry on. So we've just had a stop in Hyden for a quick coffee and a break basically. Stretch our legs a little bit, have a quick chin wag, and then we're back on. So next destination is Ravensthorpe, which is about, I think, another hour or so away. This is when you realise that WA is a very big state, and that's WA, Australia, not Washington. Very quiet on the roads, as they normally are. Still very windy, which makes it challenging. It has improved in the warmth, so it's now 17.5 degrees, so it definitely feels warmer. Still only what, we're in 386 kilometers in now, averaging at 84.1 kilometers per hour, and just over 4.5 hours of riding duration. I reckon there's at least another 12 hours of riding, and it's 10:53 in the morning, so I think it's going to be a late one. Jim was thinking we might hit, what was it, Busselton way for about 6:30 this evening. It'd be great if we could, but I think we'll be a bit later. I think we're going to be, with the few stops we've had so far, I think we're going to be, so far I think we've had about 1.5 hours of, let's say, downtime, for one thing or another, for fuel stops and having a drink and yeah, just stopping in general. But no fatigue. I was feeling a little bit fatigued in the last leg, that's why we stopped in Hyden to get a coffee. So I've perked up since then with that caffeine, so I feel good for that, and everything else is fine. Bike's running well, no issues. I feel great at the moment. The butt is not sore as yet, so far I may have an iron butt, but I'm not counting my chickens yet. Oh well, we've had a slight detour. We're 1 hour extra now. We've wasted 1 hour. We went half an hour beyond where we should have gone. So I'm just going to film where we should have turned. So we're back in Hyden. We left Hyden and we're on this road, and we should turn right, well, we will turn right 3 kilometers from now, down towards Lake Grace, down towards Esperance. I've lost reception, so my maps isn't working. So with that, we're guesstimating, we're thinking we just came straight out of here, carry on. and we missed the turn off for Lake Grace. Jim further down the road said, pulled up and said, I think we might have been, we've missed our turn, and we certainly have. So we were roughly half an hour ride out further easterly, and we've had to obviously come back on ourselves, so we've lost 1 hour, so never mind. So currently 484 kilometres in. We've averaged so far 86.1 kilometres an hour. Ride wise, we're 5 hours and 37 minutes in on the bike, riding on the bike. It's now 11 minutes past 12 in the afternoon. So what's that? 8 hours, 7.5 hours in, so we have lost a little bit of time now. So we should have turned right here, and we carried straight on as far as the eye can see. Okay, well, we're on the right track now. Next stop, Ravensthorpe. I think I've said that before. Well, it's certainly been a battle with the wind. It's strong. It's been strong most of the day, and sometimes it's been crosswinds as well, so it's, yeah, very strong to say the least. It's 12:54. 559 kilometres in, averaging 88 kilometres per hour. Duration on the bike is now 6 hours and 21, so we've still a long way to go. Pretty brutal. So yeah, fill up. Now it's just a light bridge. So we're having to abort the mission. We're going to lose the light. It's very windy. It's slowing us down, actually, the wind. So we're heading back north. We're going to, by the time we get home, I think we're going to be 1200 kilometres, so we're going to be well short. We're not going to make our way all the way down and round to Albany and Margaret River and the way north, so we're just heading back north and cutting across to try and get to Perth as quickly as possible to roads that are illuminated, which is going to be about 3 hours away anyhow, so it's still a challenge to get back home even. So today is not going to be the day we do the Iron Butt Challenge. There is talk we'll do it in potentially, or try again in January. So unfortunately not today. So we actually rolled into a town called Katanning last night. Managed to find a very basic room each in the local pub. It was basic to say the least, but we've rested. We've both not actually slept the best. My bed was quite uncomfortable, but it's like Jim said, this is, yeah, it might have been basic and a bit uncomfortable, but we're both not dead because yeah, riding at that time of night for 3 hours plus it would have easily been another 3.5 hours ride to get back home in all those country roads with God knows what might run out upon you. So we made the right decision. We were talking and thinking, well, it was a bit of a shame we didn't actually carry on and go down to Albany and then stay overnight and then come back, but that wasn't sort of in the conversation really. Yesterday afternoon when we were looking to actually head back north, we tried to make it back home, but obviously we realised that where we were, yeah, like I mentioned before, there's no, I know a lot of country towns or country areas don't have street lights as such, but in WA it's pitch black when it's dark and there's no lighting whatsoever. You're not going through like towns or villages, so you literally are just in the middle of nowhere and pitch dark, so it's not safe riding conditions, and that's why we pulled the plug on it. So we're heading back home now. We're going to stop off at a town called Williams, get a coffee there. Home is for me roughly 3.25 hours away. For Jim it's about 3.5 hours or so away. He lives a little bit further north than what I do. So I did take a screenshot, have a look at this, and that's what we did from Innaloo, where we set off yesterday morning, to pulling up outside the hotel at Katanning last night. Not quite 1,000 kilometres, but we did actually just average the magic number, let's say, the averaging of 88 kilometres an hour. We have talked of actually in maybe January, we haven't made his mind up as yet, we've just loosely talked about it, but we're thinking of maybe in January 2025 that we may actually look to head down to Albany and finish off basically the last leg of what we were going to do yesterday. It obviously won't be completing the Iron Butt, unfortunately that didn't happen, but we'd just like to actually just go and finish that ride as such. If you're still watching, thank you very much for watching. I think we're going to be rolling into Williams before too long. Just passing through this little, I don't know, town, settlement, Arthur River. And that's pretty much it. So quick coffee stop, and then that's it. Roughly 2 hours ride home, and that's done. It's a shame we didn't complete it. It's actually very challenging, thinking more so into actually doing it here in Western Australia. It's doable, but it's how you ride back when it's in the dark hours in the country roads. We planned that would actually just be on the outskirts of Bunbury, Busselton, going into darkness, so we'd have had roughly 3 hours of darkness getting home, but we would have only had maybe an hour or so of quite dark areas until we'd get to the outskirts of Perth. So that was the plan, but as I've mentioned before, we did lose a fair bit of time for one reason or another, as you've seen. If you've actually enjoyed this video, then please feel free to subscribe. It is free. And also, this ride was for charity, Global Mental Health. So if you feel like you'd like to actually donate to that charitable cause, then please do.